Hello everybody, got our roundup from the cameras. Kicking off with red squirrels as usual, of course. So just a quick note, all the dates on the wildlife cameras here, they're in American format. So kicking off back here in February with a nice little rainstorm. This feeder actually fell off its normal stand and ended up staying upright, propped on this log here. And it had got a lot of activity, so I thought I'd just stick the camera on it for a little while and see what showed up. So obviously the red squirrels are doing their thing as usual. Stripe was making a show. She's the one that has the classic stripe on her tail. There she is there, double stripe, fantastic winter coat on them this time of year as well. So red squirrels, yeah, they've had a pretty mild winter really. I mean, obviously coming into this spring, it hasn't really happened. So we're going to have to see what happens to the kits this year, but obviously we are continuing our supplementary feeding, so even if food sources aren't quite coming in for the red squirrels, that's where the supplementary feeding will help support any of those young kits that are coming out. And we have seen some kits out and about already, just in early May, so keep your eyes out when you're out about on the trails. You might see one of the female red squirrels with her young kits about. But here back in February, they're all about the food, especially on a bit of a wet, cold day, and they don't they don't like each other at this time of year either. As you can see, there's certainly a lot of territorial behaviour and a bit of fighting going on, but it's just absolutely mad how quick they are. I mean, insanely fast. But there you go. They are arboreal creatures. You know, they're used to clambering around left, right, up, down, centre. They can rotate their wrists almost 360 degrees, and they only have 4 toes. Would you believe it? But there you go. So what else has been happening on the cameras? Like I say, I mean, this time of year we would normally have a lot of our cameras on still image, so it's more of a surveillance thing going on. So most of the footage is actually from this camera. We've got some cracking stuff coming up. It's the pine martens, and we've got some really nice bunny footage towards the end as well. But these guys have been absolutely brilliant. You can see the winter coats already starting to just slightly turn silvery. They tend to turn silvery towards the end of winter, and then they shed them. You can see there on this one already, it's starting to shed just on its back a little bit. Always interesting to see these guys. Never tire of watching them. And of course, squirrel hide's open now, so everybody gets a better chance of seeing them too. So what else is on the cameras? We get the jays. I think we've got the jays coming up shortly, and these guys on the windy days get their tufts blown around a little bit, which is nice as well. Had some good news from the council recently. They've agreed to go ahead with grey squirrel control on council land finally. So this is going to really help the red squirrels across the peninsula here get a continual barrage of grey squirrels. There have been over 20 now from the Grey Abbey area. We've headed off another 10 or so coming down from the North Down area. And the North Down group, they've got tons coming on, and there's been a few worrying outbreaks of squirrel pox in Clandeboy, so it's well and truly knocking on the door of the peninsula when it comes to that viral transfer the greys are carrying. So slightly worrying start to the year for the red squirrels, but generally they're doing okay. We've got the lovely jays here. Obviously the camera only has a fixed focus, but really nice close-up of the blue of the classic blue feathers, and you get to see the crest of the jay when it's alert. It starts to send up its crest just like that. Quite a few pairs nesting on the estate this year, and the great spotted woodpeckers got 2 breeding sites this year, which is really nice to see. So heading over to nighttime on the cameras now, and this long-eared owl snapped on one of the still image cameras. And a real interesting curiosity actually here in the background, if you look in the background, you see these two dark blobs just the left of the pillar. Now, I looked at this a lot and I'm pretty sure it's definitely a cat on the left, of course, but that's a otter. Very slender tail. So as a cat having a fight with an otter, just shows you the issues that we have with cats when they don't have bells or not kept indoors. And you can see here, obviously, with the pine martens on the cameras, far fluffier tails, which is why I'm fairly sure that last image was an otter. So yeah, pine martens, they're doing great around the estate as well. I can probably account at least 2 of the grey squirrel kills to these guys. There are 2 grey squirrels that I can't account for our trapping, and the only explanation is these guys have managed to get them, which is fantastic. Obviously for balance, they do predate on red squirrels as well, but it also means that we have a stronger and more resilient population as a result. So as you can see, they're using exactly the same feed station that the reds were. Reds are out by day. My pine martens mostly out by now, although you will see them out in the mornings around sort of April, May. So you never know, you might bump into a pine marten on your travels. So yeah, this is the lead female, this particular pine marten here. She has quite a clear bib with kind of like a splodge towards the bottom of it. So pine martens have a unique bib pattern on their chest. Each individual has a unique design. This particular pine marten, she was getting distracted quite a lot on camera in this sequence of this particular night in February. What I would probably say is probably the badgers are rooting around on the ground there, and she's probably watching them there too. But she ends up having a feed here for a good 10-15 minutes, chewing away at the maize and peanuts and bits and bobs there. So hoping by now she's probably pregnant and is probably just about giving birth to kits fairly soon. Yeah, so towards the end of May into June, she's a bit of kits. Now this chap, this is the male. You can see it's a lot bigger, a lot rougher around the ears. He's pretty much in and out fairly quickly whenever he turns up at the feeders. He's got a lot of territory to patrol. So you don't generally have the one male who's dominant in an area, and he'll have probably a number of females within the area. Yeah, a lot bigger. So his pattern, you can see, has 2 splodges on his bib. And we haven't seen any other males around the estate other than the single juveniles that we see, obviously, from the kits, but that soon get sort of driven off, as it were. But always great to see the pine martens. They've got such character, incredible animals. If you think red squirrels are agile, these guys are even more agile, considering they're about the size of a cat. They are amazingly agile up a tree, around a tree, and upside down the trees as well. So this is actually a different female here, with a sort of striped bib rather than the two splodges of the male, or the kind of single splodge that the first female had. I haven't had a good shot of this particular female, so I'm going to try and get the still cameras, see if we can get a better shot coming up. So yes, the badgers have worked out how to climb some of the branches up when this feeder had fallen down, so that explains why it was getting so much activity. And watchers of the regular roundup of the cameras will know that the badgers do climb quite well. Actually, they've climbed up on fences before, on stock fences, balancing on their hind legs on the tops of the barbed wire strands to get to some of the squirrel feeders before. It's quite funny watching them. And set up the cameras, of course, at the badger sets to capture when the cubs come out. And unfortunately, I didn't get a very good angle on the sets here. And then after about 3 or 4 sort of clips of videos, the batteries died. So I don't have a great amount of footage from the New Hill set. However, I did get a friend of ours, Tristan Bain, who does photography in the area. He's been snapping some amazing shots of some of the red squirrels, and I said, "Do you want to have a go at getting some shots of the badgers?" So with the cubs confirmed, of course, we got him set up just a couple of nights ago, towards the end of May, and he has got some amazing shots, which I'm about to show you. So everyone thinks the badgers are, sort of fairly busy at night. Actually, most of the time they sit around just sort of scratching themselves, especially after they come out of the sets for the night, as it were. So yeah, 3 cubs from this particular sow this year. It was nice to be able to at least get that one on the camera. And yeah, here's some of the footage that Tristan managed to record between him taking some of the still images. Beautiful greens and blues with the bluebells as well. But yeah, these guys just sit around giving themselves a good old scratch most of the time. Absolutely fantastic to watch the badgers. They've got such character. So yeah, he got some on his first night, got some fantastic shots, and on the second night got a few more. It's very difficult in the woods with the light levels to get particularly good shots, but not bad. I'm quite impressed with these shots, and he was pretty stoked, so he's going to come back and try again a few times as well. And he managed to get this little shot of the sow with one of her cubs, and she was tucking into some bits of corn and peanuts that we put on the tree stump there. Now she can climb up, but the cub can't yet. But so if you want to check out his photos, he's at tristan.bain on Instagram. And thanks for watching, guys. I'll be back with more Mount Stuart moments, and you can find out more about the Ranger team at NT Ranger Toby on Twitter.